Tonight we've got Scott Farrington. He's the Chief of Staff for the Manatee County elections. Scott served as the Chief of Staff since January 2013. His extensive elections and information technology experience are vital to a current and future operations of that organization. Scott spent 10 years at the Sarasota County Supervisor of Elections office, beginning in 2000. For 2 years prior to joining the Manatee County elections team, Scott worked for a software developer, Veritex in Sarasota. Scott was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and bless his heart, he got to draw and came south, which also shows he's a pretty smart guy, as is evidenced by a lot of you. No, I'm serious. Don't you? Have you? Anybody in here shovel snow recently?
No, but I remember.
Very clearly.
Ergo, you're here. Scott was born in Fort Wayne, moved to Sarasota with his family in 1986, graduated from Community Christian High School in Onico, Florida. He's got 2 degrees from USF. He's got a BS in Information Systems Management, the Master's in Managing Information Systems. Scott and his wife, Amy, have been married since 2008, and they have 1 son, Jacob. Scott, come in likeness.
So thank you for the introduction. As you can tell, I am not the Supervisor of Elections of Manatee County. That is Mike Bennett. He apologizes for not being able to be here. He just got back from Iowa, where his wife's family is. But I'm happy to be here. A little bit of back information about the office. I'm sure most of you know this, but to go through it real quick. The Supervisor of Elections is a constitutional office. They're elected to 4-year terms. They are not directly under the county commission. However, we do receive our funds directly from the county commission, so there's a little give and take there that always goes on. Mike Bennett was elected in 2012, took office in 2013. He was re-elected in 2016 and also in 2020. He is up for election again in this year. What do we do the other 364 days out of the year? That's probably the most common question I get asked when I'm out and about and talking to different people. So this is kind of a brief list of what we do. As you can imagine, we still have to process voter registration applications. People are still moving into Manatee County. They're still turning 18. They're still dying. All of that stuff we have to take care of. And so that is probably the majority of what our office does during the off time. We also do what's we refer to as list maintenance. We're required by law to do a yearly list maintenance program. This year was the first year Senate Bill 524 changed that list maintenance a little bit. We were required to send every voter who has not voted in the last 2 general elections. So at that time it would have been had not voted in 2020 or 2022, and we had not otherwise heard or had any communication with that voter. We were required to send them a piece of mail. And that piece of mail, they were required to check a box, sign it, and return it to us to stay registered. If they did not do that within 30 days, we made them inactive. This was the first year that we were required to follow that exact procedure. There's other things that we've been doing in the past, but this year was a little different. And what that resulted in was that we made approximately 30,000 people inactive in around July or August of this year.
Very good.
So that was 30,000 people that had not had any activity with our office in the last 2 general elections. That does not mean that they're not eligible to vote. Does not remove them from the rolls. It puts them in an inactive status. That's a little bit of a misconception or something that you may have heard in the news. They weren't purged, they're made inactive. They stay inactive for 2 more general elections. So for 2024 and 2026. If we have not heard anything from that voter in that time period, then they get removed. And in order to vote past that, they have to re-register. So we removed approximately, or not removed, we made inactive approximately 30,000 people. So our rolls went from about 280,000 people to right around 250,000 in August. Since August, it's back up to 265,000. So that 15,000 is most likely it's those same people who just didn't get that, they procrastinated or didn't get the letter initially and have since communicated back with our office and moved back. And so we're sitting at around 365,000 voters.
Scott, what happens if they show up and want to vote?
If that person goes to vote, they are in inactive status, they are not removed, as long as the law requires them to confirm their address with our office, basically their name, their address, so that we know that who they are and where they're registered, and then they're allowed to vote. So there's really no difference. If you showed up and you were inactive, you wouldn't even know that we had you as inactive.
And they don't get mail-in ballots?
They can request one, and if they request a vote by mail ballot, it turns them active again, and then they would get one. But as soon as you become inactive, that removes any request, vote by mail request from the record. We also do municipal and special elections during the off season. We didn't really have any this year, which was unusual. We take care of the candidates, the committees and parties. As you know, there's been a lot of candidates filing recently. Our office deals with all of that paperwork and the financial reporting. We do voter education, we do voter outreach, we do this type of activity. And then of course, we also take care of like the voting equipment repairs and maintenance and all that sort of thing.